All right, some more trivia. So we think the CFPB is a tough agency to deal with, but let's go back to America's greatest film. It's a Wonderful Life in 1946. The FBI actually investigated It's a Wonderful Life as communist propaganda. And so the FBI said it was an obvious attempt to discredit bankers. And they wrote up a report that said, Mr. Potter was following the rules as laid down by the state bank examiners with making loans. So
Are you serious?
They said that Jimmy Stewart, and they investigated that, sat down, watched the movie, wrote up a report and said, this is communist propaganda. They're going against the big banks. We got Uncle Billy and George Bailey.
No way.
Yeah. So you think the CFPB is bad, but this is what they're
we've
dealing
come a
with
long
back
ways.
there.
Yeah.
So
they were not guilty.
No.
Merry Christmas.
They said it was subversive, but not too subversive.
Wow.
So
all right. Cool.
Keep that one in mind when the CFPB comes calling. So here's the rule for RESPA kickbacks. We'll go over this real quick. It's going to prohibit the giving or accepting a fee or anything of value pursuant to an agreement for the referral of business. And I love this one down here. People skip over it. Incident to or part of a settlement service for a federal loan. The one that they always miss is that incident to. They just think, well, I'm not doing it at the closing table.
Right.
I'm doing it 3 weeks from now for something that happened 3 years ago. You got to make sure you have that. If it's incident to that, if there's a quid pro quo, something of value for the referral. If it happened yesterday or a prospective referral, that's going to fall under that rule as prohibited.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of times it does tie specifically to that thing or that closing, but it doesn't have to.
Yep. And a thing of value can be cash, it could be a jet ski, it could be a concession.
But you can give $25 though, right?
Cannot give maybe $25 Canadian.
That is still valuable.
I hope I don't get canceled.
You're getting canceled.
But you can't do that. So it's a gift, it's cash, gift, or a concession. You do this for me, I'm not going to be referring people over to other agents. Because a lot of times when you're doing referrals, it's good to do the rule of 3. Give them 3 referrals so they have a choice. But if you say, you know what, do something for me, and the next time I send referrals, I'm just going to send it to you, not the rule of 3.
Right.
So you're doing a concession. So a thing of value, again, it could be a candy cane. It could be stock in a candy factory. Holiday gifts, that gets really tricky with consumers or people in the industry. Holiday parties, we saw what happened at that booze cruise in Minnesota. Closing gifts and concessions. And referrals are going to be anything for past or future business, so that's the potential for future business. Influencing the selection, and that includes consumers and SSPs. And again, I can't stress enough, it also covers future potential referrals.
Right.
So you got to keep that in mind.
People don't think about that.
No.
That it's, we're going to get business. Well, as soon as you do get the business, that's a referral.
Yeah.
And now we've got the thing of value up front, the referral later, and you're done.
What the regulators really look at is the reasonableness of it and what you did and what's the impact. So when you show up at the booze cruise and next year 60% of your closes are from people that are on the booze cruise, that's what they look at and say, well, yeah, there's fair market value there. Everyone's doing fine, but you got most of your business from everyone on the cruise. Doesn't look right, so we're going to fine you. So the test is, are you expecting referrals in exchange? Something in exchange is going to be a quid pro quo, something contingent, or are you defraying somebody's expenses? And that's the one that gets tricky is defraying. It could be, are these direct expenses, or are you doing something on the side that frees up cash for that agent so they can pay for their license or their education?
Yeah. I always think of I think when they wrote this, it was more like, hey, let me tell you about FHA loans. Let me tell you about how to do USDA. Or let me tell you what's going on with VA. And I think they meant for that to be the case. But what we see sometimes is I'm doing a Facebook class for everybody on how to market on Facebook or how to do those types of education classes. And I don't know where those land. Is that more gray?
Yeah. Well, if you're thinking like a lunch and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually pretty fine depending on if you keep it open to everybody and that kind of thing. But if you are paying for somebody's licensing fee, if you're paying for any kind of education, that kind of stuff, that's where you're going to get in trouble. But deferring expenses, again, just kind of keep in mind direct expenses or taking care of something else that the agent has to pay for, which frees up their cash so they can come back and use they can use that money for their license. So it's going to be direct defrayment or indirect defrayment. Can't stress this enough. We talk about it all the time. It's going to be a question of fact if it's a quid pro quo. We've got thing of value for a referral. A question of fact. What's the intent? What is the timing? What's the relationship? Is it a mom and son? who are exchanging gifts, or is it a mom who's kind of sliding a little money that way to help out and pay for co-marketing? You got to be really careful with this stuff. There's no personal exception for that.
Right.
You can give somebody a birthday present, Christmas present, but mom can't pay for the co-marketing of family members.
Wow. Yep.
So you got to be careful with that.
Yep.
Frequency, volume, make sure that what you're offering is equal to all. They always look at that. And then selectiveness, who's invited to the party? Is it a small group of people that have benefited you, or is it a broader group that is more of a marketing experience to say, hey, here's what we do, give us some consideration. So an example of holiday gifts, let's say you have some clients that you want to send out a small token of appreciation for last year. And for those clients that didn't send you any referrals, you send them a plain old coffee mug, just an old ugly coffee mug. But then for the past clients who sent you referrals all year, you spend a little cash. You get them something kind of nice, and you send them a coffee mug, and you have it imprinted that with the statement that says, "I hate RESPA."
Right.